So dear friends, we are fortunate to begin the new year, and we are almost at the close of the year 2024. The last feast of this year would be the feast of the Holy Family. The church plays a very important role in every family, and the church encourages good families. The family is the smallest unit of the society, but the most important one. But for the family, perhaps the society would disintegrate, and we can even blame many of the problems that are in the world because of poor family background and upbringing. And so this feast of the Holy Family that is celebrated on the Sunday after Christmas is very meaningful. First of all, we know that it would be right that the church celebrates this feast because soon after Christmas, the birth of Jesus, perhaps the focus is on the family, the Holy Family. And this particular Sunday, the church also, as we know, inaugurates the Jubilee year 2025, but then that would come later in the evening or so, and so the morning liturgy takes up the themes or readings of the Holy Family. Let me begin with the Gospel. The Gospel is from chapter 2 of Luke, verse 41 to 52. It's about Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. They are on a pilgrimage, or perhaps they are on their way to Jerusalem. And this particular time, they would like to attend the feast of the Passover. It's the whole family that went together, spent some time in the temple, and perhaps that was a time also of meeting and greeting many people. The problem is when they were returning, they suddenly find that Jesus is not there with them. Mary and Joseph are worried. They look among their relatives and they realize, no, he is not here. Perhaps he has remained back in Jerusalem itself. And they make a 3-day, perhaps a walking travel, go back to Jerusalem. And for their surprise, they find Jesus there among the scribes, perhaps, and the elders of the temple, discussing, asking questions about the Jewish faith as such. And then Mary says one word which is very revealing: "Son, why did you do this to us?" And Jesus, instead of apologizing or perhaps being a little more softer, he seems to be saying to his mother, "Why did you have to look for me? Did you not know that I must be about my Father's business?" The Mary takes this. Son is growing, he's 12-year-old, but at the same time, she realizes that what he says has got much to say about his own life and mission. There's one word sentence perhaps that spells the priorities of persons in the family. Though Mary perhaps does the talking, maybe even Joseph must have told her, "I might be too harsh to my son. Maybe Mary, you could say it to him." And Mary says it very nicely. Her words are, "Your father and I have been searching for you." Mary never says, I and your father. Mary says, "Your father and I." She puts the father in the right place in the family, as one who is the head of the family, but at the same time, he doesn't do it without consultation with his wife. And the Gospel ends with the word that Jesus grew up in wisdom before God and before men. There's also another sentence which is a little characteristics of Mother Mary. That Mother Mary kept all these things in her heart, pondering over them in her heart. Perhaps that is the family life. There's no one who is great in the family. There's no one who takes the primacy in the family. Surely the parents, but among the parents, there's no distinction. The father takes his place at those times when perhaps he has to discipline, he has to give wisdom, advice to his children. And the mother is always the sign and symbol of love and affection and sacrifice. And that is what we see in the Holy Family. The first reading speaks about the parents as such. And the reading says that the children who obey their father, the son especially, will live longer. And secondly, the mother, when she is respected, you will have a lot of treasures. Your treasures will increase. Meaning to say, the parents, especially at their age and stage of their life, have not only to be respected, but also considered and glorified. Even the second reading of the Colossians, St. Paul speaks of many good qualities. In fact, he says, put on these qualities, as if you're wearing a cloak, as it were. Put on these qualities: the quality of kindness, the quality of patience, the quality of forgiveness, and above all, he says, put on love. Put on love. And once again, in the end of the reading, St. Paul tells the husbands and wives, husbands, be considerate to your wives. Do not be harsh to them. At the same time, St. Paul tells the children, always obey your parents. So, my dear brothers and sisters, with this beautiful advice in the readings of today, we don't have to look beyond. Our scriptures are full of what we call the spirit of the family. The Gospel embodies the spirit of the family. And as much as the family remains united, closed, and with qualities and with values, with that much will be our secure future. Sometimes the family has got such an important role in the life of certain persons, even at their old age. They look back to their family. What would my father have said or done in this particular thing? What would my mother have done? And that keeps coming back. And naturally also, the best of traditions are carried on in the family get-togethers. And so, my dear brothers and sisters, I am sure Christmas time has been a good time for you, especially for your families, to come together, to spend time together, to eat the best things that are prepared in the family, and also perhaps the little fun and frolic that you have. Maybe some have gone on a long tour, some have gone on pilgrimages, and with all these things we say that the shortcomings as also the wealth of the family traditions keep us always together. As we celebrate the feast of the Holy Family, I wish each one of you a very happy Family Day. I now speak about, every month the Holy Father has got a very special intention that is to be prayed upon. And surprisingly, the intention for this month matches with the theme for the year. It's called the Year of Hope. The Year of Hope that is marked for 2025. And the intention of the Holy Father for January is to pray for the migrants, refugees, and those affected by war, that their right to an education which is necessary to build a better world might always be respected. We pray for the migrants, refugees, and those affected by war, etc., and especially the part of education, because education is that way brings us culture that makes us grow up. And so in this mixture of what we call the hurts, the distractions, the disharmony, many a time the families are left to themselves and their children, their future is destroyed. And therefore the Holy Father marks a particular point to say that not only that these people have to be considered, they have to be rehabilitated, but pay more attention to the education of the children, which is very important. We have had that benefit or rather that privilege of inviting and absorbing, accommodating about 600 to 700 the migrants from Manipur in our Archdiocese last year. Fortunately, many of our religious fathers and sisters opened up their schools and also their boardings so to not accommodate them, but at the back of our mind was, and when the request was made to us from Manipur was, yes, the parents are staying in what's called the rest houses or the houses that are quarters that are built for them, perhaps large dormitories, etc., where they are put up, but the children are the ones who are most vulnerable because they have nothing to do. Perhaps they would just play about, fight, and even get into situations that are embarrassing for the parents. And therefore the request of the parents was, we will try to rough it out, but please take care of our children. And that's how the children also came to our Archdiocese. They are very happy. We are seeing them in different programs. They are beautiful, not only in they are clever in their studies, but beautiful in their singing, their dances, their sports items, etc. very much. And therefore, with the Holy Father, we pray for the migrants, be refugees and all those affected by war, especially that their education may be taken care of. There's something very special that's going to happen on the Feast of the Holy Family. The Holy Father has requested each of the dioceses to inaugurate the year of the Jubilee on this particular day with a Eucharist, a very special Eucharist, and certain ceremonies that would be very much symbolic in the inauguration of the year. And so this particular inauguration will take place in our Archdiocese at the evening Mass in the Cathedral at 5 o'clock. And as I said, since it's going to be a very special one, we request that the people participate. We have also called our parish priests from all over to finish their liturgies in the morning and to attend the inauguration of the Holy Year in the evening in St. Francis Xavier Cathedral at 5 o'clock. Basically there are three small things perhaps which would perhaps characterize the opening of the Jubilee year. The first of all, the gathering together. Before the Eucharist, we will be gathering together in the cathedral campus. There is the grotto of Mother Mary and also the chapel of the Blessed Sacrament. So in that place we will gather together, all the people will gather together. And secondly, we start a small procession, I would say a small pilgrimage from there, and go to the entrance of the cathedral. And thirdly, the entrance itself, the door we call it, the entrance going into the church and inaugurating, that itself is a form of inauguration of the Holy Year. And one significant part of this would be the Jubilee Cross. The Jubilee Cross will be carried from the place where we are gathering to the cathedral itself. And this Jubilee cross is very meaningful also because the cross is always sign and symbol of our faith. And the faith that we have received, the faith with which Jesus Christ himself took up the cross. He suffered, died on the cross, and therefore the cross is always a symbol of our faith that has been used in variety of contexts. The Jubilee cross also calls us to the mind the various facets of the Lord's act of sacrifice, becoming man and taking the form of a slave. St. Paul in the letter to the Philippians chapter 2 verse 5 to 7 says this, that ultimately Jesus emptied himself, and this form of emptiness is the cross, the crucifix that we see. And not only that, on the cross he died in order to take away our sins. John chapter 1 verse 29. And so this is the cross we are called to celebrate, and this cross that we will carry to the cathedral will be the sign and symbol of our own life, as it were, the cross of Christ that we carry. It's not just a cross that is weighed upon us, that is thrust upon us, but a glorious cross, the cross of Jesus Christ. So therefore, my dear friends, the inauguration, as I said, is going to be very symbolic. And through this inauguration of the Holy Year, we begin many activities, many programs, many pilgrimages. There are so many things that perhaps we would go through this year. And the Holy Year is the year of the Jubilee is symbolic for us, because that we'll have many not only spiritual activities, liturgical celebration, but also cultural celebrations, the celebrations of the youth, the celebrations, the Jubilee of the youth, the Jubilee of the children, the Jubilee of the couples, the Jubilee of the married people together, married for 25 years, maybe 40 years, and also the Jubilee of the senior citizens. It will comprise of the whole gamut of the society itself in our celebrations. So this would be the beginning or the inauguration of the Holy Jubilee 2025, the year of the Jubilee, and this will happen in the cathedral, as I said, St. Francis Xavier Cathedral on 29th of December, Sunday, in the evening at 5 p.m. Most welcome. The same Jubilee that we are inaugurating on Sunday, was inaugurated by the Holy Father in Rome on the eve of Christmas, that's 24th of December. And that was done by symbolically opening what we call the Jubilee door, the door of mercy. And the Holy Father opened this door and inaugurated for the whole universe, all the churches, all the dioceses all over the world. He opened it for us in the St. Peter's Basilica. On the following days, it was expected that the doors or the Jubilee would be inaugurated also in the other three basilicas of Rome. That's the Basilica of Mary Major, the Basilica of St. John Lateran, and the Basilica of St. Paul outside the walls, we call it. And so this inauguration was done by the Holy Father himself, whereas we in our dioceses, as I said, would be doing it on the day of the Holy Family, 29th of December. And the Holy Father beautifully said that let this year be a year of hope for us, a special celebration of hope, as it were, because we are always melancholy, we are always missing out, we are always perhaps worried that what may happen. Rather, the year of the hope is supposed to be not only for us, but also those that have no hope. There will be many people, perhaps for them it's another year. They need not be discouraged, says the Holy Father, because hope in the Lord brings miracles to us. And in the year of the hope, the year of the Jubilee, as you know, we will be also having certain pilgrim churches where we can visit and gain indulgences, and also there will be certain places of hope, where hope is dim, of course, but at the same time, by our visit, we also would be gaining the indulgences, and also the people there would be visited and perhaps comforted, perhaps spoken to and counseled, and this way the places of pilgrimages of the churches and the places of hope, that is, the social institutions, will also be part of the Jubilee year. After the Jubilee comes what we call the New Year. We call it Happy New Year. Every year is happy. Every new year is surely new for us. But then it need not be another sort of a ceremony that the world celebrates it with jing bang and perhaps the biggest noises that day. But for us also it's a time of silence. It's a time of a silent joy that we can feel. I read to you that Gospel, Luke chapter 2 verse 52, where it is said that Mary kept these things in her heart, the many happenings in her heart, and pondered over them. So also I wish you a very happy new year, and the liturgy of that year perhaps is offered in the name of Mother Mary. Mother Mary is remembered that day as the Mother of God, because the Church, Holy Mother Church, begins the year with the name of Mother Mary, Mary, Mother of God. And therefore the liturgy, the readings, etc. are focused on Mother Mary as she celebrated, I would say, the new year. And for her the new year began with the birth of Jesus himself. And so we ask Mother Mary's intercession that nothing is impossible with God. That's what Angel Gabriel told her, and she believed it, and she wishes each of us to believe it as we begin the new year dedicated to Mother Mary. And I'm sure that all of you are looking forward to it with a lot of celebrations, with a lot of perhaps anticipations, expectations. The children surely be the happiest, and for us it may also be a year of hope, a year of the Jubilee that we begin in a way on the New Year's Day. So I wish you all a very happy New Year. We have something in our Archdiocese that makes the New Year or the week around the New Year also very happy for us, very eventful for us. We have two sort of big shrines in our Archdiocese, the shrine of Mother Mary in the Shivaji Nagar, we call it St. Mary's Basilica, and the second one is the shrine of Infant Jesus in Vivek Nagar. And so the Vivek Nagar celebration or the feast is on the 14th of January. We celebrate it every year, and the Navenas start on the 5th to the 13th of January. We have every day Navena prayers and Navena masses. And so the inauguration of this will take place with the flag hoisting on 4th of January. So 4th of January at evening at 6 p.m. we invite all of you to participate in the flag hoisting, that surely many people come from all over the city, perhaps even outside, and the flag hoisting symbolizes for us our raising up of our minds and hearts and our hopes to God. And therefore, let us be part of this, our local sort of New Year celebration in a worthy manner by participating in the Navena and prayers and all the celebrations of Infant Jesus Shrine at Vivek Nagar. Finally, we come to the jewel of the Archdiocese. The jewel which is very special for us, something far away, something hidden as it were, because many of you may not be aware of this place. I speak of the Sacred Heart Church Bangalore as the jewel of the Archdiocese for this week. What's special about Bangalore? You know, the word Bangalore in Kannada, Bangara means gold, Pete means bazaar. So we can say Golden Bazaar. Golden Bazaar. It has got much to say about gold because being close to the KGF, and where the KGF was, the gold was mined, and we are told that of course it was sold all over the world, but Bangalore was the place where there were choice shops where the gold ornaments, the many finery things were sold. And even today I am told that there are some shops in Bangalore which sell gold as such. And so in those years, perhaps when gold was easily available and marketable, for people not to be able to go all over the world searching for gold, they came to Bangalore in order to buy gold as such. But actually, I am told that the word Bangalore comes not so much from the gold, but also from a big man who served, a Britisher who served in the mines, and his name was Boring. And so it was not Bangalore, but it was Boring Pate in the beginning. And from many years, this name has stuck to this particular place, which is the capital town of the Bangalore Taluka itself, and the Bangalore Taluka is in Kolar district, about 90 kilometers from Bangalore. There's a beautiful railway station there, which is also very old, which was coming from the British times, and perhaps the mines, the things, the instruments and the mechanics and the people were transported from Bangalore or perhaps from Chennai through the Bangalore station, which was a very important station. As regards the church matters, 1893 is mentioned because that year there was found a chapel of St. Anthony at Bangalore, a small chapel, which came under the parish of Coromandel, and later on it was attached also to the Holy Cross Church, Bemel Nagar. It was a substation of Bemel Nagar. But in 1951, the first foundation stone was laid for a new church that's called Sacred Heart Church on the Kolar main road. And the place was considered strategic that time because just opposite the church place is the hospital, and for KGF area, for Bangalore area, this was a very important hospital. Many of them who came for treatment, they were known to have visited the church that was just opposite to pray to God for healings, for special relief, for medical and perhaps even small miracles. And therefore our church was being close to the hospital, was very much visited by other patients, their relatives, etc. at that time. And we are told the priests who were very much active and the ones who were responsible were priests who came from Bangalore perhaps, and in the beginning it was a Tamil language church. And we remember Father Chinnappa, Reverend Father Georgia, and Reverend Father Lawrence Norona, who is still with us. So these are the pioneers of the mission of Bangalore. In 2007, this parish was entrusted to the OMI Fathers Oblates of Mary Immaculate, and the first Fathers of the Mary Immaculate Oblates were Father Jeevaratnam and also Father Prakash. Ever since, there have been many priests of the Oblates of Mary Immaculate, and the priests are very much enthusiastic not only to serve the people but also to be available for any type of consultation and mission work. Today we have Father Simon Sebastian and Father Ratis Babin, and we are told Father Simon himself is a good pastor of many years' experience in so many places, and therefore he leads the congregation with unwavering faith and dedication, and also a lot of charity works. As regards Father Ratis, his youthful energy is bubbling, and we are told that because of these two priests, this particular jewel keeps shining, and being on the main road as itself, people can't miss it, and there are so many people who come during the day as it were to visit, as I said, as it is close to the hospital. So therefore, my dear brothers and sisters, God has blessed us with this jewel that is, perhaps it's in the suburbs, it's in the Kolar district, but for us it's a dear jewel, a jewel that shines among the poor, among those people who are still remembered as people who worked in the mines, and at the same time for the general public as such, it serves as a place of healing, it's a place of getting God's graces and blessings on the families. I wish the parishioners and the clergy of Bangalore, the Sacred Heart Church, I wish them well. May they continue shining as the jewel of the Archdiocese.
The Shepherd's Voice, which is being presented by our beloved Archbishop, Most Reverend Dr. Peter Machado, the Archbishop of Bangalore, who takes so much of interest and concern in order to bring the various topics, the contextual aspects, in order to inform, educate, and catechize all of us, the priests, the religious, and faithful of this vast archdiocese. And I'm sure you are enjoying this program, Shepherd's Voice, and I request each one of you to share with your other colleagues, friends, and family and relatives, near and dear ones, so that everyone in this archdiocese can be more closer to listen to the Archbishop on this Shepherd's Voice, the weekly feature. My dear friends, as I've always told, that this is a wonderful platform wherein we can connect to the Shepherd of this archdiocese, wherein he brings in the interesting topics in order to increase our devotion and love towards God, and also to know the spiritual matters that concerns our faith. In a very special way, you are most welcome to ask your questions, queries, and you can send them to us at archdblr@gmail.com, and you will also see our mobile number in and through which you can connect with our media center, Ave Studios, and the Archdiocesan Communication Center. Please do write to us your feedback, your opinions. Thank you. Continue to watch and continue to share with others.